broadcast is brought to you by VictoryUnlimitedShow.com.
We're on a mission. We're on a mission. We're on a mission. We're on a mission.
Victory Unlimited.
We're on a mission. We're on a mission. We're on a mission. We're on a.
Hey, VU, this is Drew from Atlanta, Georgia. I got a quick question. I am a 45-year-old guy, but here lately I've been getting a lot of attention from women in their late 20s and early 30s. Can you do a show about how us older guys can date younger girls? Or is it true that younger women don't really like older guys?
Stand ready, on the alert all over the world.
Against a hidden enemy, an enemy that can destroy morale, rob the soldier of the will to fight, and even trick him into surrendering. Enemy propaganda.
It's a strange, shadowy world of the doctored photograph, the misquotation, the insinuation, and the lie.
Now, some of this material to us is comical. Some of it is tragic. Some of it's weird. Some of it's dull. But all of it has the single purpose of selling discouragement and defeat.
Drew, you were doing so well up until you set off the propaganda alert. It must have been that part where you said that younger women don't really like older men. Well, here's some hardcore truth and hopefully some good news for you. Historically, women have always been attracted to older men to some extent, and that hasn't really changed today either. In fact, I'd probably go so far as to say that probably about half the women you know just love to claim to be, quote unquote, more mature than the men their age, and the other half might actually be. Who knows? But I just wanted to point that out because that's why a lot of girls that you grew up with in high school was off limits to you, because they were already taken by the older guys who were already in college, remember? Again, women have always been into older guys. Always. A man with maturity, wisdom, and stability. A man who's comfortable in his own skin. Which is, by the way, practically the textbook definition of an older man. This is what most women get turned on by. Now, just how much older women are willing to date and how much younger a man is willing to date is always something that's going to be an individual thing. After a certain point of what mental maturity, the differences between ages sometimes only come down to things like how much can two people relate to each other? How much do they have in common? And of course, is there still some actual, real mutual sexual attraction going on between them? When all of these factors are taken in within reason, of course, then that old saying becomes true. Age ain't nothing but a number. For real, there can be a big difference between a 30-year-old man dating a 20-year-old woman, but the difference between that same man dating that same woman when he is 40 and she is 30 can damn near be negligible and not even worth talking about. What I'm saying here is that the older both of you are, the less the age gap is going to matter over time, at least in regards to being able to relate to each other. Now, granted, there are still a lot of potential positives and negatives, that factor into an older man dating a younger woman. But for this show, for the purposes of this show, I'm just going to focus on the positives because I want to see you guys get the victory out here. Yeah, pun intended. So today I'm going to roll out this actionable intel for you guys. I'm going to give you 20 strategies that you can use to attract and date younger women. But keep in mind, these aren't necessarily in any kind of chronological order in the timeline of the dating and relationship process. But wherever you happen to find yourself and you can use these strategies, use them to your benefit.
This is a mission. This is a mission.
Strategy number 1. Do your YCR. That means Do your young chick recon. Before we can even talk about how to attract or meet younger women, we gotta find them first, if possible. If possible, I'm going to tell you this. Always try to meet younger women in what I like to call age-neutral zones. What this means is don't be the old guy at the young hip-hop club or the indie rock spot. Don't be the only older guy grad student trying to pick up hot young chicks at the frat/sorority party. Remember, old school was just a movie. And it was a comedy at that, because the very idea of a bunch of older guys trying to relive their youth by pretending to be young is a ridiculously funny idea to most people. But check this out. There's one exception to that. There's one exception to this rule. The only surefire way to meet and attract younger women in an environment where mostly younger people are is to somehow be a man in an elevated position, higher than everybody else there. In other words, if you meet her at a club, be the club manager or the club owner. If you meet her at the university, be one of the professors on campus. Or if you meet her at a work-related function, be one of the men in a leadership position. Be somebody's boss. But not hers, of course, because you ain't really trying to get fired over a trumped up sexual harassment charge, are you? Now, I'm not saying that as an older man, you can't meet women in clubs and bars and night spots and all of that. But what I am saying is that you'll always have better odds of meeting them in a more naturalized way. I mean, like in places where your age or her age is not even a factor and it's not so glaringly obvious based on the venue alone. If you want to stand out in a crowd to younger women, you're better off doing it by meeting them while you're going about your normal day, doing the things that you do all the time, like while you're at the grocery store, while you're out paying your bills, shopping for clothes, filling your tank up with gas, etc., etc. You know, you can also meet women at cultural events, sporting events, outdoor festivals, conventions, work-related events, or even at churches, synagogues, mosques, or what have you. Or even better, you can meet younger women by being casually introduced to them through friends, relatives, associates, even co-workers. But the most important thing to keep in mind if you're an older man out to meet younger women is this. You'll always have a better chance of getting to know them if you either A, meet them in places where you have a higher status than they do or the guys their age do. B, meet them somewhere where you won't stand out from everybody else there just because of your age. C, meet them through normal, natural, everyday means, again, while you're out running your errands and living your life. Or D, meet them through other people that you know. Because that way, you know, when you meet women that way, a lot of them will give you more of an opportunity to get to know them because you come to them, in a sense, pre-approved. Strategy number 2. The number 2 strategy that you can use to attract and date younger women is this. After you meet them and make their acquaintance, then you're going to be faced with a question. You have to decide, how are you going to handle any hesitation she may have about going out with you because of your age difference? And that's if she has any hesitation. Well, if she does, well, I'm going to have to let you know right now that this strategy that I'm talking about right now comes with a disclaimer because there's a very low percentage chance that you'll be able to get away with it. But if you want to try it and you think you can pull it off, then go ahead. But again, I can't really recommend this 100%. So what is this strategy? The strategy is don't discuss your age at all. Ignore it altogether if at all possible. Or if it does come up, just brush it off with some humor and some exaggeration if you can. For example, if she asks you how old you are, just tell her, hey, I'm 179 years old, and attempt to just try to laugh it off and change the subject. Or if she's like 10, 15, 20 years younger than you, and she asks you your age, and you happen to be like, say, in your 30s, 40s, or 50s or beyond, rather than just telling her, hey, I'm 38, 47, or 59, instead just say, I'm in my 30s, or I'm in my 40s, or I'm in my 50s, etc. Then change the subject to other things and see if you can get past it. Now, I know that might sound a little bit far-fetched to you, like you may be saying, hey, that could never work. But believe it or not, there are quite a few cases where some women start to really, really like a guy and actually start developing feelings for these guys before they found out what their real age was. Then, when they did find out exactly how old these guys were, it didn't matter. It didn't matter enough to those ladies because they were already into them. So age difference was no longer important enough to be a deal breaker. I've seen stuff like this happen a lot, and you probably have too. Sometimes when a younger woman falls for an older guy, even her girlfriends can't talk her out of it. Her girlfriends might say something like, but he's 10, 15 years older than you. But she'll just tell them, yeah, but he doesn't look his age though. Or she'll say, yeah, but he's so much more interesting than the guys my age though. Or she'll say, yeah, he might be older, but he knows what he wants. He's not into playing games. And I'm tired of guys who are playing games. That's right. That's right. Younger women tend to make all these kinds of arguments in your favor once they're into you. But if they had known about how big the age difference between the two of you was at the beginning, those same women would have prematurely disqualified those guys out of their lives with extreme prejudice, literally cheating themselves out of the good relationship that they're actually enjoying now. The critical thing to keep in mind here, though, is do not lie about your age. No, never lie about your age. Just try to avoid bringing it up at all if you can. Because if you do lie and she finally finds out about it, and she will, there's usually no recovering from that kind of deception. There's no coming back. There's no coming back from blatantly trying to trick a girl like that. There's no coming back from tricking a woman like that. You might as well just go reach into your kitchen drawer, grab the biggest fork you can find, and then stick it in yourself, because you'll be done, son.
To hear the classified, uncut version of this broadcast, then get your ass over to victoryunlimitedShow.com.